Kemi Badenoch is desperate. The proof of the pudding will be at the ballot box. She's a loser and has opened her mouth to prove it, says Nick. Kemi Badenoch, shameful behaviour, so undignified, it's not even important. It's only about members. It's not only about members, it matters about policy. People are sick of the two-party stagnation. This is what people want. So many messages on that this morning, but I'd like to know about this now, and it's the front page of today's, I think it's the Express. Oh no, the Express has gone for the other story, which I love today, which I'll get to in a moment. Daily Mail, a new Quango every week since the Labour victory. Keir Starmer was last night accused of smothering Britain in red tape. Here is the front page for you. After it was revealed that Labour have set up a new Quango every week since taking power. 25 new Quangos, task forces, advisory councils during its first 6 months in office, equal to an average of one a week, leading to fears Labour is more interested in reforming structures of government and sort of chatting away and coming up with ideas rather than actually doing anything and driving real change. It follows revelations last month that the government has ordered 67 reviews and consultations in its first 5 months, leading to accusations that the Labour Party and Sir Keir Starmer is facing paralysis via analysis.
Yeah.
I mean, OK, devil's advocate a bit here. Some reviews of what's going on and some task forces are necessary, surely, when you are a new government to find out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's fine. And also, I don't think we can really sit here and complain about a government wanting to change the structures of government, given that that's one of the major complaints in this country, is that the current structure of government doesn't allow us to do anything. You know, that's sort of the point, is that you can't waltz in necessarily and change everything you want if the civil service of the bureaucracy is sort of diametrically opposed to you doing something.
And have analysis and have workings to show the justification for those changes.
Yeah, I don't think that that's wrong necessarily. What I worry about with Sir Keir Starmer is I don't think he's the person for this task. I think, you know, I said it slightly earlier, slightly mockingly, that, you know, he sees everything through the prism of being a lawyer and not Rumpole of the Bailey, not a particularly creative or interesting lawyer, but a very procedural one, and that he can't sort of think outside the confines of that, and that this is simply going to be a continuation of the process of government by legalese, basically. I fear about that, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that another Labour leader might be able to use this to quite good effect. I think, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what direction the party actually goes in the next couple of years, because I still do sort of err on the side of pessimism that nothing is going to improve, and that the party will not try to change its leadership because it doesn't tend to do that very often, and that we will simply continue down the process of increasing the amount of constraints on us rather than decreasing them. But it is possible that that won't happen. And I mean, let's be clear, in order to effect the sort of changes that this country needs, and that the Labour Party will need if it wants to be popular at the next general election, without relying on a sort of a Tory reform spat to keep itself in power, it's going to need changes in things like energy, how we source our energy, how we pay for it. It's going to need changes in things like planning. Labour has spoken a lot about the need to build new houses. That's going to require a lot of slashing of red tape, if it's going to do that.
But do you slash red tape with red tape?
Well, that's the point. That's the point. If this is what you want, if the end result is you want there to be more economic growth, you want people to feel better off, and you want a fairer deal, so to speak, for the less well-off in society, this might run counter to current Labour Party thinking, but you are going to actually have to take on the civil service at some point. You're going to have to take on the bureaucrats. You're going to have to stop outsourcing decision-making to external bodies.
But do you have a bit of sympathy with this, then?
Of course I have some sympathy with it, because, you know, they've come in and it was a dumpster fire. And, you know, keep saying it was a dumpster fire that they've inherited. They do need to sort of have eyes across all of these things. But I just don't think Keir Starmer is the right person to make the sort of changes that are required.
However, another interesting aspect of this story is the civil servants who are being encouraged to mark a baffling array of what is being described here as woke weeks at work. Diversity and inclusion calendars have now been produced by Whitehall and Quango's, which include Pansexual Visibility Day, which I know is a particular day in your calendar, Benedict.
Oh, very much so. Peter Pan's sexuality was very important to me. So,
Stress Awareness Month. I mean, that makes me stressed, the idea of a stress awareness
Just
month.
a month?
A month.
You see, they're not working hard enough. They've only got 1 month of the year that they are aware of stress. No, it should be perpetual.
Stress Awareness Month to the pagan festivals of Samhain and Yule.
I'm sorry, what? Come on.
And they've got a photograph, actually, of the pagan festivals, such as the winter solstice at Stonehenge, which are marked in the internal calendars. And actually, one of the people who were marking the winter solstice is in Calvin Klein underwear and a Gucci belt. This is obviously our pagan forefathers would have probably loved Gucci.
Do you know what? I've got nothing wrong with us actually wanting to sort of delve into the history of our country and some of the rituals and traditions, but a lot of this is really performative. It's not really about showing that we're in touch with our heritage or our culture at all, or getting to know it. It's about diversity. That's what it's for.
Okay, well,
we tolerate lots of different, including these freaks and weirdos who have a new interpretation of an ancient religion that died out however many thousand years ago.
What about Gender Fluid Visibility Week?
I don't want to see it.
Transgender Parent Day.
Why?
Staff support groups often hold talks or have displays in civil service offices about these, but employees do not need to commemorate them. They just need to sort of work their way through the displays as they get
commemorate
to work.
Gender Fluidity Day like they fought at the Somme. Like, I'm sorry, what is this?
Woodland diversity.
I'm sorry, you're making this up now.
Latinx Heritage Month.
No, I'm sorry. Go back to that, because I don't care about Latinx Heritage Month. This is not a Hispanic country. Like, I know that there's a lot of Colombian people who live in Elephant and Castle in London. Maybe there's another
Men's
community
Health
in
Awareness
Weymouth.
Month.
I'm sorry. No, Woodland Diversity Month. Woodland Diversity Month.
Forestry
we have
Commission.
grey squirrels and we have a few red squirrels. Like, come on.
The
What's going
Forestry
on?
Commission, which manages publicly owned woodland, published a diversity and inclusion calendar for woodland in 2024.
Oh, just set fire to it all. Yes, the forest as
Ed
well.
Miliband is, we don't encourage that, and Ed Miliband is currently having, is on resuscitation, having heard that.
This is like the nonsense that you hear about the countryside being racist.
All right, we've got to do some sport now. We're doing gender fluid sport when we return next